So, you ready to get into this this Saturday matinee we got going on?
About 10% ready.
10%? Well, I'm about 110% because this is one of my favorite films ever.
The Natural Habitat Podcast.
I ran out of time. I was trying to say this is one of my favorite films ever.
I heard it.
The Natural Habitat Podcast.
I just wanted to make sure that it got out there, you know what I mean? Because I wanted people to know.
The Natural Habitat Podcast.
I heard everything said.
That's great. Another day, another dollar, as they say out in the world. When people, you know, when you go to a gas station and you go, "How you doing, man?" And they go, "Another day, another dollar." You ever heard that?
Nope.
Well,
Never heard of it.
now you've heard it here on the Natural Habitat Podcast. My name is Mikey Booyah.
My name is Hempwick.
And another day, another dollar. That's our catchphrase. We say it all day, every day, so it's going to be coming a lot. Phrasing. Was that a bee?
Yeah,
Are there bees in here making hempwicks?
I guess so.
I don't know, man, but I know that the guys that this is just turning into a Beeline Hempwick commercial again. But they sent us a lot of shit, and we're going to be doing giveaways soon.
Yeah, lots of giveaways.
Mm-hmm. So the other night, I downloaded this program on my computer called Boop, and what it is it lets you stream like online content and torrents and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And you don't actually download anything, so it's not actually illegal. But I downloaded this program, Boop, and I got the extension for it called Boop, and I added it all in with the repositories and everything, and then was looking at these new movies that were on there, and I watched this film Popstar with Andy Samberg. And it was amazing. One of the funniest movies ever, made by The Lonely Island. And it got me thinking, we were talking about it a little bit before that, Andy Samberg got huge. He's, you know, like a very well-known actor. And he was on Saturday Night Live forever, but so was the rest of Lonely Island. And he has all these movie deals and TV deals. And then Akiva and Jorma, the other two dudes, Jorma. See, I pronounced his name wrong. And they are not as well known as Andy Samberg, but he still stays true to his old group that he like grew up in. Like they were just a comedy rap group back in the day before anybody was famous, and they're still making movies. That movie was a giant commercial for their new album, pretty much. The whole soundtrack was their songs.
Yeah, that's dope, right?
Yeah, and it's cool that he still got love for his homies, you know what I mean? It shows. It was a good flick. It was dope. And there was another Batman versus Superman. I finally watched that. And that shit was crazy.
That's a good one. Yeah.
It sucked me in. I didn't mind Ben Affleck as Batman as much as I would. He did an all right job at it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that was my point, you know, is the fact that I think a lot of people are overhyped of the fact of didn't think Affleck would be good enough or whatever, but people forget that, you know, he has a background in comic books and shit, and he actually wanted the part. So I think strategically, like, look, I think he could have had it when Christian Bale got it, but he chose to wait it out because he knew that Justice League was coming. He knew like all these things were coming eventually, you know? So I think he strategically planned his time to be now. And he's fucking smart for it because that Justice League movie looks legit as fuck. It's like the answer to Avengers or whatever, and I think they're smart.
Yep. So, it was good timing, because if he would have taken it then he would have burned out his Batman like Christian Bale did. And Christian Bale's missing out on all these movies.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And, so anyway, like I said, I went to the movie theater and I bought tickets and I saw those two movies recently, so it was fun. And enough about new movies, because we are here to discuss movies of old, classic films. This one is what, 1990? Is that when it came out?
Yeah.
1990. It actually the release date was just a few days ago on July 27th.
Nice.
And that film, for those of you who can't read, is Problem Child. There could be some dyslexic people out there, don't know what's going on. Problem Child is the film with the late, great John Ritter. He's dead, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I mean, not cool, but good because I said it like he was. Not cool like I'm glad he's dead.
I don't know. I don't like to be put on the spot with live or dead questions because
so he might not
I'm
be
kind of
dead?
out of the loop, you know what I mean? Like, I don't really pay attention to that shit, so I couldn't tell you.
I'm like 98% sure that he's dead. I typed in John Ritt and it fucking... yep, death. 2003. He's been dead for a long time.
That's crazy. When was fucking Bad Santa?
I don't know, but yeah, it doesn't seem like Bad Santa was that long ago. Let's see. Bad Santa was 2003. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's nuts.
That's some crazy shit.
Time flies, right?
Mm-hmm. So, let's see. We had John Ritter was in this film, and then we also had the kid that played Junior, whatever his name was. It was almost Macaulay Culkin that took the role. And he like auditioned for it, I guess. And then they ended up going with this kid, Michael Oliver, whose only roles were Problem Child and Problem Child 2. And that was it. But he's stoked on it, apparently. In some interview, he said that it was like, it was... I can't find it. I forget what it was, but he said that it was something like he didn't want the. Okay. Look, I'm just gonna guess what he said. Okay, he didn't like. Well, I know that I found it somewhere and I can't find it again, but he enjoyed having the time in the spotlight, making a little money, but he's glad that he didn't grow up as a child star. That's what I'm gonna guess.
Seeing what happened to like the alternative, like Macaulay Culkin and
let's see.
Other ones.
Oh, here we go. Michael Oliver's only major roles. Okay. After being thrust into the child spotlight as thrust into the child, that got dark. After being thrust into the spotlight as a child, I appreciate some peace and quiet. I am grateful and always will be for the experiences. I'm quite happy with my life the way it is. I have a decent job. I work hard. I have a beautiful girlfriend, 3 cats and a hamster. So he's living like a normal life and he's grateful for it, which seems like a thing that poor people say just to like sound humble.
Well, no, not necessarily.
I'm joking around. It's like, of course, it sounds nice.
No, I mean like not everybody's cut out for it.
Yeah.
You know, like let's say he got a taste of the business end of things at an early age, and he's like, you know, fuck that. That's a lot of bullshit to put up with.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like all the days on set, all the things they gotta do. You know, it's not as fun as they make it look at all.
Yeah. And it's like, you got to figure for the first 2 Problem Child movies, he probably gets pretty good residuals.
Yeah, it's been around.
Yeah, because like I'm pretty sure that it was on Netflix at some point. It isn't anymore, but it used to be. And isn't it on Hulu or no?
I don't think so. But both of those, they like constantly recycle shit. So
yeah, so I'm sure that he gets a little check every once in a while, every 6 months, gets a few grand. It's not bad.
Yeah, probably.
But yeah, another standout is Gilbert Gottfried. He was like one of the most known comedians in the time, in the late 80s, early 90s, into the 2000s. Definitely a staple in my childhood.
You know what's funny about him is I think Adam Sandler ripped a lot of him off.
Yeah?
You know, like Adam Sandler's wine and like some of the faces that he makes, and like I don't know, like I see a lot of Adam Sandler in him for sure.
Yeah, now that you say it, I can see it too.
If like when we watch a clip or whatever, you'll see what I mean. Like Gilbert Gottfried, you see a lot of fucking Adam Sandler coming out of that dude for sure. And Adam Sandler was like the next generation after that.
Yeah. Fucking, he's just a joke thief. They're all joke thieves. That's what I found out.
Everybody takes from somewhere. Nobody's completely original, you know?
Yeah. I was watching the Action Bronson Ancient Aliens thing, and Alchemist was calling him out because he in the show Ancient Aliens, they say ancient astronaut theorists. It's like their thing that they call people that believe in aliens instead of people that believe in aliens.
That's what they call people who believe in the ancient astronaut theory.
Yeah, the ancient astronaut theory. Exactly.
Yeah, not just aliens, like just that theory.
Yeah. And he put it like in a song. I guess Action Bronson put it in a song, like in a hook. And Alchemist was like, "Hey, that's from your song, right?" And he was like, "Yeah, this is probably where I got it from." And he was like, "You took this from here? Like, what the fuck, man? Like, you stealing?" And he was like calling him out for real. And he's like, "Dude, I'm not stealing. Like, it was just like, I heard it, so I put it in a song. Like, there's probably 100 things from Ancient Aliens that are in songs." So, you know, with all this, what was my point? Joke stealing?
Yeah, probably.
With all this content out here, you know what I mean? Things get recycled all the time.
Yeah.
And, you know, Adam Sandler at least made it his own to where he didn't squint his eyes constantly.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I just seen a little bit of him in that.
Yeah, I do too now. But you know what I see in this show coming up here in about 30 seconds is a commercial break from one of our sponsors. I know it feels gross having to cut to commercials.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm. But
It's
you know,
weird.
you got to do what you got to do.
Paying bills.
Yeah, yeah. I probably shouldn't ask people to donate right before I play a commercial, but if you want less of these, you can donate at naturalhabitatpodcast.com, all the way at the bottom.
Get your skis shined up, grab a stick of juicy fruit. The taste is gonna move ya. Take a sniff, pull it out. The taste is gonna move you when you pop it in your mouth. Juicy fruit is gonna move ya. It juices soft, it gets right to ya. Juicy fruit, the taste is gonna move ya.
All right, and we're back.
Nice.
Today we're talking Problem Child on Saturday Matinee. One of John Ritter's most famous roles, besides Three's Company. And I'm here with Joey Black. I mean, wait, what was your name in the beginning of this?
Hempwick.
Oh yeah, I'm here with Hempwick. And how you feeling, man?
I'm feeling toasty.
Yeah, I'm very blunted today. I don't know what happened, but I took like a lot of dabs before we started because I was like, let me take a dab before we do this. Let me take a dab before we do this real quick though. And then I like got up and went and got something to drink, and then I was like, okay, real quick though, let me take a dab before we do this.
Yeah.
And that happened like 6 times.
Yeah, it just kept taking a dab, but it's all good, man. That's what it's all about.
That's right. That's what it is all about.
That and Problem Child.
That's a great segue. Always bringing it back on track.
Always.
I don't know how you do that. So, let's see. I found out that this movie was inspired by a newspaper article.
Shut up.
Swear to God. And what it was is somebody wrote an article in the LA Times in 1988, and it was entitled "An Adopted Boy and Terror Begins."
Nice.
And this woman claimed that she had adopted a boy from an orphanage, and that he was so disturbed that animals instinctively feared him. That's a quote from that woman's article. So
Scary kid, huh? Like the little Omen child or something.
yeah, to where animals were just like and they would tuck their tail and leave all frightened. And you know, some people have that effect on animals that aren't exactly evil. You know what I mean?
Or a lot of animals just don't like kids.
Yeah, that's true too. You never know. You know, maybe people should look at their animals and see if their animals are possessed.
Yeah.
But either way, somebody read this article. The writers of the film Scott Alexander and Larry and
You in trouble?
yeah, I am. So Scott and Larry read this article and they were like, dude, we should make a fucking movie about this kid. And they did it. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm glad that I started all that with about how many dabs I took. It was like an excuse. I'm sorry if I can't get through this next part, guys. I took a lot of dabs. So, what about you? You got anything you know about this film or what?
The test screenings were a disaster.
I heard about that.
70% of the audience walked out during the film.
Damn.
30% were verbally angry. The film scored a 30. And it says you were in trouble if you were in the 60s. So, 30's pretty low.
Damn. So
60 is bad, 30 is real bad. And I mean, like, hey, but that's good, right? Because controversy sells, and like you offend some people, that's going to cause even more people to go see it because they want to see what's the fuss about.
yeah, but I heard that it actually also forced like a rewrite and a reshoot, right?
I don't know.
I want to say that I read somewhere that after it got this horrible review from the test screening, that they did like a few weeks of reshoots and did an alternate ending for the movie too.
About 11 times.
11 times?
Yeah, that's what it said.
Damn. They did 11 alternate endings?
I guess.
See, so what they did is they overthought it. They thought about it too much. Like I was watching this thing about South Park and like the making of an episode. It's like a documentary that they did about making one episode in a week, how they do it in like 6 days.
Yeah.
And they were talking about how like if they make something beforehand, they like tried making stuff beforehand, like a couple months before, but then they'll make it and then watch it and then show it to people, and then they'll get too like critical of themselves and they'll change too much shit. And then it'll turn into a whole new thing by the time it comes out. So that's why they give themselves 6 days so they don't have time to like, for writer's block or to rethink anything. They're just like, this is what it is. This is funny. This is how it goes.
And they work off of current events also, so like...
Yeah, so they could be like the most up to date.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it seems like they didn't follow South Park's advice and they got into a rewriting phase, but it still turned out dope. You know what I mean? I wonder what that initial movie was like. There's really no way.
Could you relate to it?
I could, yeah.
Me too. I mean, like, I wasn't adopted, but I could relate to being a problem child.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, everyone is, what it is it makes you feel better about the shit that you do because he was like so crazy. Yeah. Like he set his room on fire at one point because he didn't like clowns.
Yeah.
That's like a room inside of a house, dude, where like all of our valuables are and like everything is here. You can't just set it on fire, you fucking crazy bastard. You know what I mean?
He had no fear of consequences, and like that's what every kid probably admired in a way. Yeah. Because, you know, not every kid was sociopathing and just do the shit and not care. Most kids would be afraid of like whatever punishment ensues afterwards. Yeah. You know? And so being that problem child and not being able to care and being able to do all that stuff was probably like definitely admirable to like kids everywhere because they were like, yeah, this is dope. Crossed your mind before, you know, some of the things that he's done or whatever.
Hell yeah. And apparently it was a response to all of the like feel good movies at the time, like right. Baby Boom and Uncle Buck and shit like that. So where it was, the movie was always some adult that like hated life and then some child that would change the way that they see the world. That was like the theme of movies at the time. And they wanted to do like an opposite that.
Yeah, it's smart.
And have the kid just be horrible. And, I also read that there was protest over the original movie poster because there was a scene that got taken out of the movie, probably from the initial screening. And it was the kid, or the poster showed a pancake cat being loaded into a dryer. So it was a flattened, smushed cat being put in a dryer. And a bunch of people protested. And they, mostly adoption services protested because they thought that people would see the movie and think that adopting children was a risk and that they would be crazy and smash your cat and put them in a dryer.
That's funny.
So they had to change that shit. And it's cool that,
I don't even see what all the big fuss was about.
yeah.
You know, I think it was just the time, you know, 1990. It was before, you know, everything was, it was before we could basically have as much freedom of speech as we do now, you know, like this was like before NWA and everything even, you know, so it's like a weird time where you really only could say certain things or like do certain things. So I guess that explains it, but still.
Yeah, it really was, it was before its time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're all conditioned with all this crazy shit that we see on TV and Netflix and all these streaming services and YouTube and fucking Live Leak. So it's really no big deal to see a flattened cat put in a dryer. You're like, haha, that's funny. The kid squashed the cat. And then also, like, back in the day, it wasn't, like, at least to me, it didn't have the feel of somebody just squashed somebody's pet cat and put it in the dryer. It was like almost like a comic book. Like the cat,
obviously fake.
Yeah, the cat wasn't real. Like it was a stuffed cat, and you know, no cat got hurt. Like I didn't associate it with a real cat in my head.
So corny as grown-ups with no imagination, we're trying to over-imagine how kids would imagine it.
Yeah, that's what happened.
Is that irony or what?
Yeah, we got high and we got stuck in an over-imagining.
Yeah, well, yeah, no, and it's like, kids didn't even give a fuck. We didn't even look at that cat like it was real ever.
Yeah, and it didn't make me think about squashing a cat or what if my cat got squashed. It wasn't anything like that. I
never even gave a thought about the fucking cat.
Yeah.
Who cares about that stupid cat?
Yeah, you know? it was funny. Like it was always funny.
Yeah, it's like, what the fuck do you mean? Why is that even a problem?
It did in a lot of movies.
Yeah, and that's where they got it fucked up, you know, like trying to assume like who's gonna think what or like who's gonna fucking be offended by what. And that basically that makes you put kid gloves on for everybody, you know, and it turns into like the PC culture that we ended up having today.
Yeah. But 10 or 15 years later, it was totally fine to show flat cats in Grandma's Boy. You remember when he lifted up the couch? And there was like 3 cats under there?
Yeah, those are probably real, yeah.
And they were fucking flattened as fuck. So no big deal, you know what I mean? Yeah. So we got a couple clips from this movie, right?
I think so.
Let's see here.
We never know what we got anymore. We just get stuff handed down.
Yeah, they just load stuff up for us on Windows, and they're like, play the clips.
Pay the bills.
Play the clips. Let's see. This is, I want to say, one of the early introductions of Junior.
I'm sorry, sisters. Please don't make me lift those heavy stones. And please don't make me scrub those dirty toilets. I just want to be a good boy. I promise.
You see that? He said he's sorry.
Please, give me another chance. I just want to learn my lessons and do my studies so I can be smart and become a priest.
There! You see that? A priest! A priest! It's like a nun with a jacket. It's a boy nun. He wants to be a boy nun. Let me tell you something. It takes a big man to admit his mistakes, and there is a big man. It is in the opinion of myself and my agency, of which I represent, that Junior will not be removed from this orphanage.
Removed? What do you mean removed?
Oh, don't worry about it, Junior. You see, the nuns just made a suggestion you might be happier outside of the orphanage. What's so funny?
You are, you stupid dick.
You see, he's wicked.
You're not saying you'd rather not be in the orphanage, are you?
Doy, think much, Pea-Brain? I want out.
You see, Mr. Peabody, the child is incorrigible.
I'm what? Why you speak English, lady?
Look, maybe what the child is trying to say is that...
Maybe if I shrug my shoulders and move around my hands like this, maybe people will think I know what I'm talking about.
Look, it's obvious that the kid's unbalanced. I mean, I knew that from the start. I was playing devil's advocate. Devil, you know. Anyway, on behalf of myself and the agency, this child is going to be removed from this orphanage as soon as possible.
Well, hurry the hell up. I'm not getting any younger.
Damn. I'd be like, you little fucking piece of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a little bastard for sure.
Yeah, but that's what's up, though.
And you see how innocent he sounded in the beginning?
Yeah, while he was laying it on him.
Yeah, little motherfucker.
Trying to school him, trying to get out of there.
Mm-hmm.
And it worked. He got to where he was going.
Yeah. Man, we got to do a commentary on this movie.
I know. We should have.
One day it'll come.
Maybe not. Maybe part 2 or something.
Maybe. So I found out that Gilbert Gottfried was nominated for a Golden Raspberry at the Razzie Awards for Worst Supporting Actor in this movie, along with a couple others. And he lost the Razzie to Donald Trump. Yeah.
Our president?
Uh-huh. Our president, depending on when you listen to this and what reality you're in.
Our president.
So he lost his Razzie nomination to Donald Trump because Donald Trump played himself in Ghosts Can't Do It. So people hated Donald Trump as himself more than they hated Gilbert Gottfried as a character.
Cool. Sounds about normal.
Yeah. It's just weird that it's weird to see this in here and not have any mention of the current 2016. If Donald Trump's name was in there, it'd be totally different.
Yeah, it's only 16. Wait, 26 years later?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, this movie fucking, when they were making it, a lot of people thought that it was going to bomb. Gilbert Gottfried said that when he left, after all of his scenes were done, him and John Ritter had some sort of weird exchange where it was like, oh, okay, good luck, buddy. See you on the next one. And they thought it was going to be shit. And it ended up blowing up and became a cult classic. We're still talking about it now. What, 26 years later?
Yeah.
How many
Who
did we
would've
decide it
known?
was?
Who would have known that some little prick was going to make it all the way into the future? But, you know, think about it. What else was popping at that time? Like Chucky and shit. What else? Whatever was around then.
It was all like evil
it's
kids.
Still around too, you know what I mean? It's crazy.
There's a lot of evil kid shit was popping off.
Yeah, we would have never known all these things would have been as crazy popular as they were. Because, like, when we were young and we were watching these things, we didn't even realize that they held popularity in the first place, you know? Like, we didn't have anything to compare them to. We didn't have the internet, or, like, we didn't have, like, a network of friends in other cities or places around the world that were, like, watching the same things that we were. We just assumed that fucking, you know, people watched it or people didn't. We never really cared about any of those things at all. Now it's like now it's like a numbers thing or whatever. But when we were kids, it was like, you know, we just watched shit and we had no idea like the impact that it had on everybody else. We just knew what impact it had on us and like how much we liked it or disliked it and like whether it became one of our personal favorites or not. And that's like where we built the nostalgia from. It wasn't ever a thing to be compared to, I guess.
Yeah, that's a trip.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Everybody has like, it's weird that everybody has their own like nostalgic box to pull into.
Yeah.
And there's like crossovers, and then there's things that just like certain people had and certain people remember.
Yeah, no two people really grew up the same.
Yeah.
Nobody had all the same likes and dislikes. Nobody had all the same like. Nobody ever witnessed or like experienced the same experience, you know. So it's like everybody has their own take or their own spin on it. That's pretty cool because now we get to share ours, and now people out there can relate to ours and like tell us about theirs, and oh no, it's pretty neat.
Yep, definitely.
What's next? What do we got? What's next?
We have this movie came out during the first season of Seinfeld, and Michael Richards, who disappeared for some unknown reason, he played the bow tie killer in Problem Child. That was like riding him and shit, and ended up fucking trying to kidnap him or something. And I haven't seen it in a while. I don't remember.
I do.
But yeah, he was the bow tie killer, which was the BTK killer, which was
yeah. And then the kid was like writing him or something and wanted to take off with him or whatever. And
yeah. And that's a brutal reference, how they took like the BTK killer, which stands for blind, torture, kill. And it's Dennis Rader.
it's bind.
Bind. Did I say blind?
Yeah.
No, I said bind. Here, I'm going to edit that out. Bind, torture, and kill. Then, fucking, what was I saying? Oh yeah, they took that and then they put like a childish, like Pee Wee Herman style spin on it, to where he was the bow tie killer and just wore a bow tie.
Yeah, and it's crazy that, well, it's not crazy, but I mean, like, it's funny that they related them together, you know, like the kid being a sociopath and like relating to the serial killer and, you know, like wanting to like meet up with him and
yeah, they definitely were a match. That kid was fucking weird.
Yeah.
He's such a piece of shit. We gotta watch the movie now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're gonna watch the movie. We're gonna start it right now. No, we're not. We're not gonna do that. We don't have it queued up.
Nope, but what we do have queued up is another commercial break.
That's right, from one of our sponsors. So we're gonna get into that, pay them bills. We'll be right back.
Who puts the future in your hand? Your own creation to command.
The amazing world of robotics, from the smallest vehicle to the biggest robot. If you can imagine it, you can create it. Parts, motors, motion, you control it all.
Who lets you use imagination to make any configuration? Who puts the future in your hand?
Introducing the expansion set and 3 new starter sets from Milton Bradley.
Welcome back to the Natural Habitat Podcast, everybody. So
Robotics.
Problem Child. Robotics. That robotics commercial looked dope. I don't know if you saw it, but it was pretty much like BattleBots. Do you remember that show, BattleBots?
Yeah.
And
that was a good show.
Yeah, you just make your own BattleBot at home. It's like a little remote control fucking piece it together with. I'm trying to figure out what those things are called. It was like a Rector set. That's what it was called.
Yeah, Rector set, yeah.
It's like an Erector set, but there's like motors and fucking shit in it, and you hook it all together, and then you got a little remote control.
Robotics.
And you could robotic around. So go get one of those if you happen to be in the 1980s. And
yeah, I'm sure there's some places that still have it. I guarantee it.
You can get one at like a Goodwill or eBay or something like that.
Probably eBay.
Yeah, probably eBay. Maybe, I guarantee there's a Goodwill somewhere in the world that has a robotic set missing pieces.
Robotics.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody's got one in their fucking attic or somewhere.
Yeah. If you got a robotic set, please mail it into us.
Donate it to the Natural Habitat Podcast.
Yeah, mail it to 420 Boogie Woogie Avenue.
Cool address, bro.
In California.
All right.
California City.
Boogie Woogie.
Yep. So I didn't really know about this, but this film had 2 sequels. So there was a second and third installment, which I thought there were just 2 of them.
The second one is real. The third isn't.
Second one's real. The third is a bootleg.
Well, it's like a sequel with different people.
Yeah, they changed it up. Yeah. They did that a lot back in the day.
Because it turned into a kids franchise, like instead of like the first Problem Child wasn't even supposed to be a kids movie or anything. It was supposed to be like a dark comedy.
Yeah.
So it wasn't supposed to be in those categories, but since it had a kid in it, it just ended up being that way anyways. Gravitated towards being a kids movie. It just got overlooked over time.
Yeah.
And just became a kids movie, and then like played into that with the sequel, and then the third one was obviously just like a kids movie. But.
And then it turned into an animated series.
Yeah, so which is, you gotta do something.
Yeah.
Shit, milk it for all it's worth.
Yeah, they did like 26 episodes of it, so it didn't last too long. They didn't get into syndication. If you make 100 episodes and air them on TV, you're in syndication, and anybody can just purchase you. Like, you buy syndication deals as a network, and then they give you like a lot of shows that you can play on your network. And that's why like old Family Guys will play on like TBS and Adult Swim and something else, because they're like in syndication now. So
we got 250,000 episodes.
Yeah, we're a syndicated podcast, so feel free to share. Feel free to just download a whole episode of our podcast and release it as your podcast if you have a podcast that has millions of listeners.
Yeah.
And you don't want to do an episode 1 week? We got you.
Podcast.
Yeah, just pick one of your favorite episodes and download and upload. I don't need to explain to you how to do it. You're podcast savvy.
We're still looking for somebody to join the YouTube team.
Yeah. If
anybody's interested.
If you think that you have what it takes.
Tube.
Then hit us up. And it's really easy. So we need someone to help with the YouTube.
Yeah, we need someone to run our YouTube, basically.
Yeah.
So
that's it.
Join the team. Apply now.
And that's rapidtempodcast.com.
Do your duty.
And that's rapidtempodcast.com. I can't say it right. It sounds like Hebrew when I say it.
Do you know any? What are the guys the auctioneers? Do you know any of those?
Do I know auctioneers? I know all kinds of auctioneers. They're like, I hang out at the auction barn all the time, and they're all my best friends. All you gotta do is bring a beer, and then you could talk with them.
Go
slow down.
Go sit down and talk with them with some beers, and ask them to say only at naturalhabitatpodcast.com really fast.
All right.
And try to get like the fastest one we could get.
This is what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna do it, and I'm gonna say it as normal as I can, and then I'm just gonna speed it up, and then I'll edit this out, and then we're gonna throw it in. All right. Okay. You ready? So, thank you for joining us, everybody. Go and watch Problem Child. Find it in your mom's DVD collection, and hit us up at naturalhabitatpodcast.com.
Naturalhabitatpodcast.com.
All right, now give him a peace, bitches.
Peace, bitches.
Natural Habitat Recording.